Today, let's talk about work-life balance in your marriage or your relationship. So in today's podcast, Cece and I, we're going to talk about some of the things that we've learned along the way.
Yep.
To keep things balanced between work and life. Stay tuned.
Hey, Blissful friends, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Blissology podcast. I am your new host, Cece the braid girl. I am your host, Cece, and I'm joined by my husband, what's up with you today, baby? What do you feel like? You look down. What's up?
I don't look down. She just looks better than I do, so I'm feeling sad.
You got your hair cut?
Yeah. Anyway, so hey, guys.
You look good.
Welcome. This is Will. Welcome to another episode of the Blissology podcast and the new CC. So if this is your first time with us, please remember to subscribe and hit on that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out these videos. Now, this is weekly. We publish this podcast. And in this podcast, we talk about...
Okay, I like how you put it. This is weekly. I mean, this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, weekly.
A little bit of a change.
A little bit of a change here because, you know, my wife got her hair done. Got a little bit something different. I feel like Will love me when I'm wearing braids. He just not saying it, but he liked the braid girl. Like, he loved when I wear braids. He's like, baby, you look like...
I do.
He's like, you are my African queen.
I didn't say it like this, but I kind of thought it. You are my African queen.
My daughter will say it better. But anyways, on this podcast, guys, we talk about love, family, relationships, and all the great things going on around the world. We're going to talk about relationship here. But today, let's get into the topic of the day. Let's get into our blissful moment. I'm excited for the topic. I don't know why, but let's jump into our blissful moment, guys. So...
You can already tell the blissful moment is the hair.
I know.
For her.
I feel like I love it. I feel like...
Well, she used a new hairdresser. Is that the right term?
I do. My beautician.
Yeah, client of ours. Can find out she's got some skills with
we
hair.
Very much alike.
Yeah.
Come
that
to
could
find
be trouble
out.
for me.
Listen. Like you say, you find your new BFF, huh?
Yes, that means more hair done. More money for me to spend.
I'm not going to say that. She was great, okay? She was great.
I must say she did a good job.
She did a great job. Didn't take too long.
I'm even thinking about getting some hair myself.
And I told her I'm going to send her some new clients because we talk. We had a great time. We do have a lot in common. Mind you, we've done pictures for her kids. First communion and...
Twice, actually.
Twice. Yeah, so she has 2 kids. And then now she's my beautician went to get my hair done. So I know where to go to. And we have a lot in common all about our business. Come to find out we're both Capricorn and we're both born on the same day. We all about the business, not the drama. So we were just like cracking joke, talking, and while it's pouring and thundering here in Florida, in South Florida. But
I wasn't there, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I just get to see the hair, and I think she did a good job. That's it.
Okay. It's not your hair. But your barber did a great job too, so it's all about the hair today, right?
He always does, you know. He always does.
He always does. You're right. You're right. He always does.
So if he's not there, I don't get a haircut.
Here's the thing, guys. Have you ever felt like when you get a new haircut, you know, you get your hair done, you feel different. You feel more like powerful, I guess, in a way, because I was feeling down for the last 3 days, whole week.
I feel bad for the mirrors I have in the house because Cece's abusing them. Yeah, I got home, and she's been in one mirror, and then she gets to the bathroom. She's in another mirror. She's in the bedroom. She's in another one. We got in the office. She's in another one. Before we start shooting the podcast, she was in another one, and I'm sure we're gonna take a break. She'll get onto another one.
Listen, I'm feeling myself. You know, I have Beyonce right now, the song in my head right now. I'm feeling myself. That's what I'm thinking right now. That's the song, and I'm feeling
when
myself.
You say you're feeling yourself, I'm thinking something different. but I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say what I'm thinking, but I'm thinking something different.
Whatever. Okay, I'm sure you're feeling yourself too, but I'm feeling myself. I just, if you need me to give you guys her contact, just reach out to me down below. I'll send you her contact information. Get her more clients because she does.
Instagram, right?
She's on, yeah, but I don't know her Instagram account. But she is, she got me.
She's the hair lady.
She's my hair lady now.
There we go.
Listen, all about the hair. Okay, enough about the hair. Now let's jump into the topic of the day, which is
work-life balance in your marriage.
How do we balance? How do we do that?
Well, there's no such thing as a balance.
No.
Let me just say this. I know we everyone wants to find that balance, which is never easy. Mm-hmm. And it's a dream for people to actually achieve that work-life balance. They call it. Because there's so many things that want our time, which is limited. Many of us, we commit all of our daylight hours to work. Mm-hmm. And then we get home, we have to work more.
and more. And more.
So, but it's important to be able to find something that works.
Yeah.
For you. Calling it balance, yes, but it'll never be balanced. Because when you're talking about balance, you're talking about 50-50, right?
Right.
A scale is balance.
Right.
It doesn't exist.
However,
you can separate work time from lifetime. Now, some days it may be 23 hours work in 1 hour.
Not here.
Yeah.
Not here. Okay.
But I know everybody wants to get to the point where they can feel, you know what, I'm fulfilled at work, but I'm also fulfilled in my personal life, which is important. What that fulfillment looks like, it will vary from people to people, obviously. Right. So, but there's certain things you can do.
And here's the thing. I did found this article on BuzzFeed.com, and it was great. Some great tips that we need to share with you guys. I'm sure there's tons of other ones out there, but I feel like these were like really, really great. And I'm going to try myself. Okay? Because it's hard.
Well, sometimes she forget where to turn off switch is.
Yes. Yeah. So now let's start with the first one. What's the first one, babe?
Take time off. That's what the article says. But from my own personal experience and my own business experience, it's important to take time away.
Yes. To recharge. And sometimes, even if you don't need it.
You always need some time off. How much time off? Depends on the person, but I think any one of us.
Take the damn time off.
And that time off could be, I had a long day at work. I came home. In that 5 or 6 hours, I completely take work off my
What is
mind.
your time off, babe?
I don't have time off right now, but let me tell you what I do.
Tell the people what you do.
I make sure there's certain things that I say, for instance, eating lunch. That's important to me. I got to make sure I eat lunch. Now, I don't always get to eat lunch at the same time, but I make sure that I do. Now, I put in some vacation. It's not as regularly as as the article recommended. I usually take 2 times during a year. I'll take a full week.
Right.
One is actually 3 times. I'd say.
Summer.
One in the summer, one in November, and one in December.
And one sometimes on anniversary.
The one in this November and the one in December is usually not time off because that's when we have to do things with the kids.
And that's usually holidays too. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not because you're busy doing things with the kids.
It's not time off in a sense that I just get home and lay down.
It's time off from work.
It's time off from work and it's time with the family. Yes, I get tired, but it allows me to get disconnected because sometimes the time off is not so much to rest. The time off is to allow your mind to focus on something else. And it's important. And I know to some people it's a challenge.
Yes.
And some people
listen, for me, it is a challenge. Taking time off, it is a challenge because I feel like I should be doing something. And I think because with this mindset, this entrepreneur mindset, right? And I'm like, okay, while I'm sitting here, I could be looking into some content or whatever it is. It is hard for me to take time off. And sometimes I feel like when I don't take time off, I feel it later on. burnout.
She gets shoulder pain sometimes.
I get the burnout, the shoulder
stress.
pain, the back pain, like the whole week. I was just like, man, this pain and it's stress, like my husband said, because you constantly thinking, constantly trying to figure things out, and so therefore it's like, okay, the burnout is crazy. If you never experienced a burnout, it's insane. It's insane. That's why they say entrepreneur is not for the weak people. It's not, because you're gonna find yourself like, man, what just happened? But I do feel like I want to take my Fridays off. I want to take
She's been
Friday.
saying that she wants to do that.
I
for the
do,
longest.
right. But sometimes I feel like, okay, I could be doing something. Either make a call, either send something, or go on whatever, but something pertaining to business.
And there's one thing I've shared with Cece, and I've shared it with myself, because I have to remind myself that, yes, tomorrow's not promised to any one of us. We could be gone at any time. But if we base what we do, or anytime we take on, and we always looking at it, you know what? I could be doing something. You can always be doing something,
Right.
including doing something away from what you spend most of your time with.
Yeah.
So, yes, you could be doing something, but is that something helping you? And sometimes we think helping us is helping our business make money, but that's not always the case.
Right.
Because helping us could be, is it helping me? Is whatever thing that I was planning on doing, either taking a day off here and there, is that allowing my mind to get in a better place, a place where I could relax a little bit? Because we do our best work when we're not stressed, and sometimes people don't realize that. They'll stress themselves out and they realize things are not working. Why is it not working? It's because you're not thinking right.
And here's
because
the
you're
thing,
not
yeah,
there.
yeah, that is so true. Sometimes when you like so overthinking things, because I know I'm the queen of overthinking. I'm working on it. We worked on it, and it's go away and came back. I know I'm not the only one out there that overthink things. But sometimes it's like, okay, because you're so stressed and you're trying to like, okay, I need to figure this out. Because you're so stressed and not thinking right. So therefore you find yourself opening so many browsers, so many things. You got so many notebook, so many things that you like, okay, let me figure this out. No, let me put it away. So therefore there's time when my husband's like, all right, baby, let's go away for just one day. Let's just go for a drive. Even if it's like around the area, but still move away from home. And sometimes I'll even try to bring some business topic, and he's like, nope, we're not talking about this right now. We're talking about enjoying life.
And that's important.
And it helps. It really helps.
Yeah, it's important to stay. When I mentioned lunch earlier, I do that because it allows me to disconnect.
I don't do that.
Yeah, someone's worked at home. They're by themselves. They don't have to. They're in full control of what happens, yet they still choose not to eat lunch. You know how many times I call and say, okay, how was lunch? Oh, I didn't eat lunch.
I don't eat lunch. I never like lunch for some reason. I never take time for lunch. I don't know if it's lunch or breakfast, whichever one. I prefer let me just have brunch. Let me just have my lunch at 11 o'clock.
I think she got that habit. The last corporate job she was on, she would eat at her desk.
Yes.
While she's looking, God knows what, on the screen, pretending that she's working.
I was working.
And sometimes the things we do it out of habits because we've always done it, and it's just become part of what we do. But it's important to be able to take a few minutes away to sit and eat something.
Lunch is important. And I think when you're salary too, when you work for a company, you're salary and you're like, okay,
yes,
I can eat while I'm working, especially when you like an environment where you can work and eat while you are at your desk, and you literally just like, okay, let me just move away for 5 minutes or eat while I'm typing. So yeah, lunch break is important, guys. Lunch break is definitely, I know I'm bad at it. I'm trying to be better. But yet, for the last 4 days, if I could think, I have not had lunch. Yeah. But I'm a big dinner person. I love dinner.
And leave the eating out of it, because you can. Let's call it a break as opposed to lunch.
Lunch, eat something, okay?
Let's go to break. It's important to eat because it's good for your body, but I think when you think of your mind and how you focus, it's important to be able to disconnect for a moment.
Right.
even if it's for 30 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes, step away
Yeah.
where you can clear your mind. Some people during that lunch break, they'll go for a walk.
I used to do that when I used to work for Office Depot.
You go for a walk for a moment, just for a walk where you can leave work where work is. When you come back, you find you a bit more refreshed.
Right.
Because you give your mind a break.
Yeah.
No, a lot of time we don't think of mental fatigue, but it is an actual thing.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It
so
is.
take your time away. From
Or
work
just
if
take the
needs to
time.
be.
Because some people I know they go in the car and eat. I used to do that. I would go in my car and eat and then watch some YouTube, whatever videos, some drama, housewives or whatever. Or some people just read a book while they like take a 15 minutes lunch and then 45 minutes to read a book and watch something. And some people would nap. I used to nap. I would take break and nap and then
Actually,
wake up.
daytime nap is a good thing. Although some people think she thinks it's nuts. But
You are grown people. If you're a grown person, you should not be napping during the day. Napping is for kids. But when I was working for corporate, I used to, well, way back with my beginning, like when I first started.
Yeah.
Then after that, I'm like, no, let me just go for a walk or just chill with some of the employees that work there. But taking naps in the day, that's for kids.
But
Why are you napping when you could be doing
medically
something?
speaking, it does help. And one thing that people has to do more is learn to block time on your calendar.
Yeah, make time for yourself.
Yeah.
Just by, blocking out an hour, 2 hours.
And it doesn't have to be during the work week. Because sometimes even our weekends can get so busy that we forget to take a break. So block some time. Say if you're going to do X amount of work for this long, that happens to me. So maybe I'm working on a project that I forget to eat during the weekend or yes.
My husband don't forget to eat. I make sure he eats.
Yeah, she'll make sure I eat. But if she's not there, I'm not eating.
Yeah.
So, but allow yourself and use, we have these devices that are great at keeping track of things because it'll buzz, it'll ring if you set alarms on it. So use them because that allows you to give your mind a break. So, and so if you're not able to do it yourself, put it on the calendar and your phone will remind you, hey, it's time to disconnect.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's easy said and done, right? It's easy to do it. But then when you like so focused and so busy into something, you're really not going to remember. And I know it's going to take some time, like in the beginning. You probably going to do it the first time, the second time, and then the third time, the next week comes, you're like, oh, forget it.
That's why it's good to have a device to remind
I'm just going
you.
to focus. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And a lot of time the alarm comes on my phone to either take some time away from my desk. I'm like, snooze it or stop it. And I'm still sitting there. And I think for us, sometimes it's like, I'm in it. I want to get it done and get it over with. That's why I was telling my husband, like, on Fridays, I really want to either work half a day or don't work at all on Fridays and then just do
other things.
Just relax, just chill.
Yeah. Chill.
Yeah.
And talking about chilling.
Wait, and don't let your job take over your life, please. Like if you work for a corporate, if you have a job 9 to 5, a lot of time we feel like we put so much sacrifice because we want the company to see that we're working hard, right? But time comes and we don't want to leave because we want them to see that, hey, we're a hard worker.
Yeah, I want that promotion. I want to show you I'm a hard worker. And then I die of a heart attack before I can get that promo.
That's it. And you'll be replaced in a quick.
Yes.
In a heartbeat.
And this is where a lot of times we have, now I'm not saying anyone should be lazy and really become very unproductive where you every 2 minutes you're sitting in the bathroom. No, that's not what I'm saying. That, listen, if there's a section of your day that you have to take a moment off the floor, take it. If your company gives you that time, take it because they know why they give it to you.
I used to do that. Yeah.
Take it. And if you have to do your work outside of the time that you hired for, then there's something that's very inefficient in the way you do things. Because I believe if you can't squeeze what you need to do within the time that you hired for, well, the company hired you for the wrong amount of time. If they give you things that needs to get done that can only be done for 10 hours, but they only hired you for 8 hours, then they need to hire you for 2 more hours.
Well,
Right?
here's the thing. Every company hire for 8 hours, but then if your salary, you're going to be over the time, and they're going to tell you got to finish it before you leave.
Yes.
That happens a lot of time for people who are salaried, right?
Yes.
Because you feel like you're obligated to finish the work because of that reason.
Yes. However, if that work can be done in 8 hours, you should be able to do it in 8 hours.
If not,
Otherwise, what could be happening sometimes, you let yourself get distracted with things here, things there that you may not have even needed to jump into. But because you don't have a structure to allow you to categorize, okay, this is priority. This one may have shown up, but I can move it to tomorrow's schedule. If you don't let all this distraction gets in the way, most of the time you should be able to do what you need to do within the time that you're hired for. So you got to look at, are you being efficient at doing things? Not the companies that are nuts. And they'll just expect you to work miracles. In that case, you may be working for the wrong place, right? But one thing I was going to say, it's good to create somewhat of a buffer, meaning that if you're getting home from work, and I got called out on that the other day.
Sure did.
If you get home from work, yes, I typically would already have, okay, this is what I need to do for the night on my way home. And the other day I got home and I'm like, okay, I literally called and said, okay, when do we eat?
I'm like,
And
you
she's
should know
like,
already.
Why, we ain't at that time. I'm like, okay, that time I'm getting undressed. Okay, we're gonna eat in an hour, so I have an hour. So I'm like, okay, put my clothes away. And I mean, she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I got this to get done if I don't. It's like, no, relax. You just got home from work. Maybe take a few minutes to breathe. And doing that day, I wasn't thinking about that because I already had in my mind I need to jump on this. And yes, I tend to listen because usually, lately, the track record has been, if I listen, I always learn something. So I went to a and I realized that, yeah, it made sense. I was a bit exhausted. And I came in, I said hi to the kids and I was ready to go to the next thing.
Yep.
And I took a moment. The kids came. We kind of chatted a little bit. Yes, for about 45 minutes before we went and ate dinner. I spent a little bit of time that was not as stressful because whatever I was going to do was going to be some work-related stuff. And yeah, I was able to get to them later that day. So live a little bit of a buffer time before we go from one thing to another.
Yeah.
However long that it took 45 minutes, but sometimes it could just be 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long you think that may work for you. Create that buffer and use that buffer.
Yeah, and sometimes it's important, especially when you're driving from work and you're driving home. I mean, no wife should, it's not okay for your husband to just jump into something as soon as they get home. Although you're not thinking of it that way, but I'm like, hey, listen, what are you doing? Just chill. Dinner is almost ready. So you just got home. Just take a break, sit down, scroll through your phone like you always do when you're in the bathroom, but you don't have to do it in the bathroom. You can just sit here in the living room, scroll on your phone and just chill for like 15, 30 minutes until we're ready. Then you just shower and get ready. Because a lot of time we're just so quick at doing things. Oh man, when I get home, I got to do this and this and this. But then we're not even thinking about, okay, I need to get some rest. Let me just get my mind together and start,
allow your mind to transition.
Yeah, from work to home.
But yeah, the other thing that I know that's something that can get to you is when you're wrapping up and you're like, oh, just what? Let me just quickly do one more thing.
I do one more thing.
I know that caused me to stay up until.
Oh yes, you so bad at this, baby. It's not even funny.
Sometimes just do one more.
He is so bad at this one more thing. That one more thing. Turns into like 5, 6, 7 more things. And I'm like, babe, just do 3 things. If you don't get to the third one, do the next one. Like put that third one on your list as, as like on top of your list tomorrow, the next day. But of course they don't listen. Men don't listen. They do what they want to do. I
listen sometimes. But the one more thing sometimes
very seldom, okay?
The one more thing sometimes seems so minor. But the one more thing easily turned into, like she said, 7 more things.
Yes.
And there's many nights that I found myself going to bed.
At 1 o'clock.
2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning.
I'm like,
because I just need to do that one quick thing which led into another quick thing, which led into another quick thing. Before you know it, 2 hours have gone by, and I'm still trying to piece things together. So learn to, I think for me, and I've already started practicing this, is if I put this away or I turn the computer off or I'm ready to just treat it like work, like my daytime work. If the computer's off and we're setting the alarm in the building, we don't go back in. There's no going back in for one more thing. It's a security thing. It's a compliance thing. It's an audit thing. There's no going back in. And I need to treat other parts of my life the same way. If this is the last thing to do, that's the last thing to do. But everything else, we get to it the next day. But yes, and for you as well. I think
for me, I don't.
You're not bad into the night. I mean, you're good at shutting off at the end of the night sometimes.
Yes, and sometimes I'm like done in the office, get in the bedroom with my laptop. So that's not. I'm always working on that too with this one last thing, but I don't stay until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning because I know that's not gonna work for me the next day.
She wouldn't, because she would just fall asleep.
Because I do, body. And he comes to the bed and sometimes and will see me fall asleep, either if I'm on the computer, my glasses sideways, or my note is all over the place.
A pair of glasses.
I did. And it's just me. Like, I'm done here.
Cost me quite a bit of money.
Whatever. I'm done here. But yes, check the emails and do all that. And like one more thing for this customer or one more thing that I got to add on my whatever. It ended up being like an hour or two. So yes, they're definitely important to log off. Once you log off, don't go back in. If you have to leave your computer, your phone, or whatever it is in the office room, just leave everything in there so you don't have to keep going back and forth and check on that. Make sure your coworkers know that you don't check emails, you don't check messages after hours. Just let them know, be clear with your coworkers about your boundaries and your scheduling. I mean, if you work remote, just shut your computer down around the same time as you usually do. If it's like 5 o'clock, you're out. I know a lot of time when you salary, again, when you work for corporate or any company that you work for and you are bringing your laptop home, I've experienced this before. Never again. And I've experienced this before where you constantly checking your emails. People, because you are working remote, right? So they sending you work. They're like, all right, you're home. You don't have to come to the office. So I'm going to send you more work. And it's like a lot of work. So please, unless if it's a medical or safety field or someone is dying or whatever. And I used to have my email on my phone, and I at some point I had to stop. I had to remove it off my phone. I don't know if you still do.
Oh, I have my work email on my phone, but I
don't check it.
It's there for emergency.
But how do you feel about it though?
Oh, I don't have to check it every day.
Okay.
Actually, I barely check it if there's something going on. Now, I do the type of work that does not. I mean, when the office is closed, it's closed.
Yeah.
And when I'm on a day off, we have backups, and my company sets it up this way that they allow if you off, because someone else is backing up. So if your staff needs something, they can reach out to someone else, which is good. But yeah, for the last year or so,
not the one I used to work for.
Although I get my emails on my phone, I turn off the notification so it doesn't pop up to tell me whenever an email comes in. And the type of work I do, I'm not expected to solve issues, and I can't solve issues remotely anyway. The most that I can do is reply to an email. But the information I would need to reply to that email, I can't get to it until I get to the office the next day anyway. So my organization is not set up in a way where I have to. However, there's certain things that if it's going on, then I may need to know so I can alert the right place. But that hasn't happened. Yeah.
And here's the thing that I don't want to use the word. Here's the other thing that I don't like when people do is when you are on vacation, right? You're getting texts, emails here and there. Could you take care of this? Could you take care of that? Could you jump into this? I know you're on vacation, but there shouldn't be but. I'm getting paid. I use my PTO. I use whatever I have to do. But why are you texting me? Why are you calling me? I told my husband this all the time, but I understand his position is a little bit higher. Well, this position is higher as a boss, as a manager. He has no choice.
But that doesn't happen.
He has no choice. It doesn't happen a lot.
No, I mean there could be an off chance.
But it happened before, and I'm like, babe, aren't you on vacation?
Well, I remember that there's that time I wasn't on vacation, but
what's happening?
I wasn't well, and it was like all of a sudden that didn't have proper backups. But yeah, I remember there was a day that we're trying to coordinate things, but. There are cases where things do happen.
Yeah.
And it's good to, especially when it's not something that was planned. Mm-hmm. And I think I was out for like 2 or 3 days. And we had no choice. We kind of had to kind of manage things remotely.
That's different.
Emergencies will happen. In that case, it's a blessing to be able to have access to these things because you can handle them. Because your staff is counting on you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes your boss is not nowhere close to even handle things. And even if he could, sometimes he doesn't have all the information to actually handle them.
Because you're responsible.
And if you're the one that has it, you kind of have to be available. But when we're taking planned time off, I know in our organization, we make sure that there's someone to back you up.
Yeah.
The staff knows who to call. The person has access to do certain things.
Well, but yeah, so you got to communicate.
In your absence, you're on your vacation. Actually, for the last year and a half or so, with the proper planning, we haven't had much interruptions in our vacations unless some crazy emergency happens, which is good because it allows you to be on vacation and be on vacation. Because the last thing you want is like you're on vacation, but you worry about this, you worry about do you have staff, all of these things. It just takes away from your vacation.
That was me for like every company that I work for. The mortgage company, I was on vacation, but I would still had those files to making sure that I finished them before I go on vacation. And yet they were still texting and, hey, could you jump on this? Yeah. And then the other company that I worked for recently, same thing. I know you're on vacation, but like, yo, you understand the definition of vacation.
For the wrong company.
It's like, if something happened to me today, they'll replace me tomorrow, like in a heartbeat.
Well, yeah.
And there's some people out there who thinks that they're sacrifice their life for work. Listen.
It happens.
The company, I mean, a lot of times when we look back, it's great to have a job. It's great to work for someone.
It's a blessing to have a job.
It's a blessing. You're grateful to have a job, right? A lot of people don't have that. It's a blessing for you to have your own job, to your own business, which is great.
But if you're dead, you're not good for your company. But here's the
thing. Once you're gone, your number is literally out. You basically a number to these people.
Well, let me say this.
And it sucks.
And let me say this, if you work for the right company, they'll understand your value as a human being. And cultures is important within a firm. Because at the end of the day, yes, we're a worker and yes, we have to perform. But we have to look at ourselves. If we're ill, we can't perform.
We can't.
If we're dead, we can't perform. So while we're performing, we have to take care of ourselves.
Right. That's what it's PTO.
And, yes. And we only good. We only good to the company.
Damn, I miss PTOs.
We're only good to the company if we're good to ourselves. In a company that understands that, will do whatever they can to make sure you as the employee is good. Now, sometimes things can carry down when it goes to a different level of management. When it gets down to you, the message that the company wants to put out gets changed completely when it gets down to you, the line worker. But companies that understand that my employees have to be good for them to be able to perform, especially when you're in a customer facing environment. Even employees fatigue, there's no way they can really
perform.
service clients.
Yes. And I truly feel like a lot of time it's like, it's who you have, right? You could have a boss who's like really laid back and chill with. I was blessed with one. Okay. Shout out to Monique Greaves. I was blessed with one. And when you have a boss who's like, all right, Cece, whenever you can get it done, get it done. But no worries. But when you also have a boss who's like, on your back, and you're like, damn, I can't breathe. But like you constantly on your back. Like it's good to, that's why sometimes it's good to look at the environment before you jump into something.
Well, yes.
And or check around with people who worked there before. Hey, how's this crazy lady? Is she? Or how's this crazy guy? I heard the manager is this black guy here. How is he? Is it cool? Does he have issues? How does he operate? It's always good to I love checking with people before I jump into a company, before I work for someone. I used to do that. And I think it's great for everyone to know before, because you never know. You might work for someone, next thing you know, you're miserable there. Miserable.
Yes. And that could happen.
Miserable.
Not every managers are the greatest managers. People are people.
Not everyone should be managers.
That too.
That part.
Yeah, but you know what? You always got to think of yourself.
Right.
At work, be your best. Be the best worker that you can be, because that's what's going to help you get to whatever level you want to be. Now, be the best worker. That doesn't mean you're going to be the worker that kills yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's going to mean that you're going to learn. You're going to put yourself in a position to get coached.
Yeah.
Get good feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Keep improving on your processes, on your performance.
Yeah.
Learn more within the firm, especially whichever place that you want to be. Try to learn more of what that place is, so you're not only going to be better at what you do,
right,
but you'll be able to take more responsibility to do more.
Yes.
Now, more responsibility doesn't mean that you're going to work 200 hours while your colleagues are working 100. No, you're going to show them that you're working the same 100 hours that they're working, but you're producing twice as much as they are. That will put you in that position, because if you have to take extra time to do things, that shows that you're inefficient.
Yeah.
If you take the same amount of time and you're doing twice as much and you're not BSing yourself, you'll go far. Mm-hmm. So, we sell time. Many of us, we sell time. You're not selling, but I sell time. So my goal is to be as effective and as efficient as I can with that time that I sell.
Right.
And obviously I sell expertise as well. So keep expanding my expertise, keep being more valuable, because companies pays you for values that you bring, sometimes not the amount of time you spend doing the work. I've known people that spend sometimes twice as many hours as some other people do, but they get paid a lot less than you. So
unfortunately,
it's how much value can you bring during the time that you work. And value comes from skills,
right?
Knowledge, expertise. So find ways to be able to learn more, and find ways to be able to apply what you've learned. And you'll find you'll be able to do more within the same time.
Right.
And don't look at what your partner is doing. Don't look at what the other coworker is doing. Don't use them as a benchmark for where you can be. And many of us, we can take comfort. Okay, so-and-so is doing this. Yeah, I'm going to do this. No. If your goal is to get there, so-and-so's goal maybe to get here, then they're not looking at the same thing that you're looking at. So if your goal is to excel, do more. But don't think the more is you have to put a lot more time, because you want to show that company that you're efficient. So, yeah. So take your time off and be resourceful to the firm that you work for. And you'll find things will fall in place.
Yeah, and if you're not done with whatever you're working on,
you can catch it up tomorrow.
Leave it for tomorrow.
Now learn the lessons when you get up tomorrow. Look to see, okay, why didn't I finish with this one today? Maybe you got distracted. Maybe the conversation at the water cooler lasted longer than it should have.
The water cooler.
Maybe the restroom breaks were too many.
Maybe the walk was too long.
Maybe you got engaged in a conversation with a client that was taking you nowhere that you didn't even need to be engaged in, and you find yourself spending 45, 30 minutes, an hour.
Yeah, sometimes y'all need to cut off the conversation, sir.
Yes. So anyway, guys, hey, thank you for listening to our podcast on work-life balance for your marriage, because all of these things we talked about, if you learn to do them, so that gives you more time with your spouse. Yes, vacation gives you time
so you don't have to bring work home.
And if you're not bringing work home, whatever time you have at home, you can be with your family.
That's stressing,
maybe working
not worry.
on their work with them.
Okay.
Anyway, listen, we appreciate you guys listening to our podcast. I know this is a slightly different topic. I think last topic we talked about dating and
yes,
and
no,
dating
this
and
was
dating.
needed because I was going through like some burnout. I was like, listen, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going through this burnout.
Yeah.
Let's talk about work-life balance, especially when you are an entrepreneur, and
So
especially
let's
when you
hope that
are.
she can
learn
apply
from-
those things we've
I
shared.
will. I'm actually gonna write them down.
Yeah,
And I
she's
hope you
gonna
are
start
too.
with taking lunch. Right?
I'm gonna try.
There we go. So guys, we
Try.
appreciate you listening. Please remember to subscribe. And if this is your first time with us, please hit on that notification bell so you can be notified when we put out new videos. Please remember to like, share,
Yes.
comment,
Yes.
and did I miss anyone?
I don't know. I was looking at myself.
That's it. So guys, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. And we will see you next Saturday.